Oh, it's time. Time to get radical.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Radical Comment of the Week for October 25th through October 31st, 2021. These are the very best comments from that time period. Starting out with the three honorable mentions, we have Art Bell, The Winged Avenger, and Cobra Kai. The bronze medal goes out to Baltimore Retro Gaming. I feel like the realest, most honest human content comes from the smaller channels. The difference is, a lot use YouTube as a social media platform, including you, Rick. When I say social media, you can relate that to the hobbyists, but some people or groups of people treat their channels as a cable network or large commercial media platform. It's the people who do that who use more tools like Patreon and live stream donations to supplement the income they believe their media network should be generating. The problem is these media networks rarely pan out, or if they do, they're short-lived. Honestly, neither of these things bother me, but the happiest people are able to be 100% honest with themselves and look at their situation as it is sure enough, instead of an ego-driven endeavor. Hope you have a good day, Rick. Let's see, I do agree with this comment. There are some things I disagree with, but I think it's a great comment. That's why, you got the bronze. But that's the argument of, well, where are the real channels at? Where are the real channels? And there seems to be this distinction between the smaller channels and the bigger channels. And I get your argument you make, but I believe that even though it's kind of rare, there can be channels that grow in size, but just because a channel grows in size and their audience, it doesn't mean that they can't stay true to themselves and true to that audience. Now, of course, if you have a bigger audience, then you can't communicate with everybody like you can on a smaller channel. So I get that. But you also loop me into it as possibly being a media network or aspiring to be a media network. Well, the thing is, I'm a high quality commentator, and a lot of people will stop by my channel and they'll say, I can't believe your channel's not bigger. The commentary is very professional. The way you set up a lot of your uploads like this is very professional. And some people might come by and they say like, well, it's not professional. You're not professional. You don't conduct yourself in a professional way. It runs the gamut, right? Now, I don't personally aspire to ever be a bigger channel. I don't really care about things like growing numbers. There was a time, Baltimore Retro Gaming, to where, yeah, honestly, I would celebrate getting another 1,000 subscribers and a lot of views on an upload. I would celebrate that. But then as I went along on YouTube, I realized that it was empty. The views are empty. Even at times, the audience you have, the more people you get in your audience, it's empty. It's diluted. And I focus now on actually just trying to entertain the people that have come here for years, the people that really enjoy my quality commentary, and most notably the people that I celebrate in things like, comment of the week, formerly comment of the day, that I really appreciate coming by and leaving very high quality comments. So with me, regardless of the size of this channel, big or small, it's going to be mutual appreciation as the core fundamental of this channel, as it's always been, as it will be going forward. Thank you. The silver medal comment comes to us from Red Stratus 97. It's the reason why you have to visit more than one YouTuber when you really want a good review. One man's trash is another man's treasure. One man may do a free to him game review like the game, but someone else that paid for it may not like it, and that tells you what you really need to know. I've seen a few YouTubers be completely honest about this practice when they have received codes and do indeed realize that if you do a negative review on something you got for free from them, then that's the last thing you're going to get for free. Nintendo especially has been accused of doing this to many YouTubers. One negative review and you are done. One YouTuber I know was also dropped by Bandai Namco for the same reason. The sad thing is, if you want the perks of free games from these companies, you have to never speak negatively of them. That being said, I have seen MGR and John Hancock occasionally do negative reviews of free hardware that is sent to them. They claim in their videos that they have contacted the companies to let them know of the issues they are seeing as well. I'm guessing those are heads up good faith things, but in those instances, what do they have to lose really? It's not like games where a company makes a ton and you lose access to that forever. If you don't like some hardware someone is making, chances are that same company isn't going to be the next Nintendo or Bandai Namco. The negative reviews there are risks worth taking, and I think MGR and John Hancock know this. It's an interesting thing you point out, and some people will come to me and they'll say, hey, you can trust MGR. You can trust John Hancock. And it's hard for me to debate that, really. It's hard for me to, if I see these, and I haven't seen a lot of these, but if they actually say, this product's kind of crappy, you basically have to give a thumbs up for him not taking the easy route, to continue getting, free hardware from that maker of that item. But you have a great point there, Redstress97, where how big is the company sending them the item? If it's a Xbox Series X, then you best believe they're not going to heavily criticize an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5. But if it's like a, no-name maker of like some niche item or something like that, where there's like a zillion people, trying to send their retro niche item to them, then they can be in a position to where they can be like, that's not that good. That's not like the 10 others that I got like that. So this one, you really need to compete and work on that. It comes down to as simple as that. Now, I'm not saying it's not a good thing that they're actually being honest in those respects. But you look at it objectively and you're like, okay, how often do we see an instance to where a YouTuber, unless they are just in a position like a PewDiePie, and I don't know if PewDiePie, gets free game reviews, probably does, I'm thinking, but where in their competition to send a YouTuber that has several millions of subscribers, these game codes and whatnot. And I just talked about this on my last upload, talking about the business of YouTube. The business of YouTube is, fundamentally, these game makers want to get their games and their codes out, to these channels, not because they want their opinion. So don't believe in people like RGT85 that say, okay, they just send me the games because they want my opinion. No, it's part of the business. And if you really want a good review, then I would say make sure you go to a channel to where they didn't get the copy for free, that they actually put their money down on the copy. Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Redstress97. Thank you. Now, the shiny gold medal comes to us from Martyville. Base forms of Goku and Vegeta are separate, playable characters. In cutscenes, you see them in normal form too, but the default game lets you just play Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan Blue variation of Goku and Vegeta. If you want to use base forms, fusions, Ultra Instinct Goku, Kid JT Goku, then you have to buy these characters separately. Base Goku and Vegeta were the dumbest DLC IDs I've ever seen. It's like charging people to buy regular Mario in a Mario game or a Pikachu in a Pokemon game. It's a Saiyan's natural stage, the one they feel the most familiar with. They should be in that game day one or not at all. The fact that this Vegeta has not even a great ape finisher and is also saying something. Glad that Baby has his own moveset. Regardless, when it comes to value, Fighter Z will never beat Smash Bros. Ultimate. You don't just get a character. You get 4 stages and several soundtracks. It was stated by Sakurai himself that he wanted to put enough stuff worth buying into DLC. Not to mention, Smash feels complete already. The new characters are just dressing. Meanwhile, Fighter Z locks content away that should be in the game. Super Saiyan 4, Broly, Z, and Classic Bardock. Don't tell me you don't expect these characters in a Dragon Ball game 2017 onwards. Xenoverse 2 took 5 years to release characters that should be part of the game day one, such as Baby Vegeta or Bojack. But at least that game gives you story content and cutscenes to go with. But right now they do scummy business practices in the game too. The latest upcoming DLC gives you base form from Gogeta, Shirtless Jiren, and Cauliflower for $20 or something. Basically, 2 modders recolored and additional movesets, one of the worst characters in the franchise. Worst characters, Gogeta, Jiren, Cauliflower? I'm guessing you mean Cauliflower. Now, a lot of people that don't follow Dragon Ball Z will be 100% left out and scratching their heads. but chances are most of you probably know about Super Smash Brothers. But these are two different fighting games, Super Smash Brothers and Fighter Z, two different types of games. But the way the DLC is handled seems a bit different from what you're describing here. Now, I criticized the DLC, the Kingdom Hearts character, the DLC. I thought that was a little expensive for it. But when you compare it on the rest of the DLC market, when you compare it to Fighter Z, that's pretty bad. That's pretty terrible. You said 3 characters are like $20? Gogeta, Jiren, without a shirt, and Cauliflower. $20. That's very excessive. And what's more shocking here is the base forms of Vegeta and Goku. I talked about this before. Base forms. Like in their Saiyan armor, right? Okay, so it's a hard sell to try to sell me on it. Like, I get the concept of DLC. Some games do it right. Some people point to certain games where, you put down money for DLC and they actually added new levels. They actually added something. They created a lot for your money. They expanded and added onto the game. But this just sounds cheap. Like literally, are you saying, Martyville, that some of these characters is just basically a slightly different uniform, slightly different getup, and a different color? Like, if it's just a different color, or Bardock looks really close to Goku anyways, so they're just sitting there like, you know what? These people, they're not very smart. What we're going to do is we're going to, basically change the color of the hair. $5, $10. No, that's wrong. That is an example of bad DLC. And it makes me rethink really, what I said about in comparison. I still don't like, overpriced DLC. Like, I get it. I understand it. If you have a game that's already jam-packed, then it's unacceptable. Not unacceptable, but it's unrealistic to think a game should have maybe, 70, 80, like 90, 100 different characters. But a good fighting game, it should have a nice selection of characters, at least in 2021 by, these current standards. You look back on like Mortal Kombat, that game had like 7, 8 characters, but that was several decades ago. So I would say this is a bad example of overpriced DLC. Definitely 100%. Thank you, Martyville. Thank you, everyone else. Have a great day.